Thomas trying to make good on a promise that he made regarding this fight. He says he'll knock out Trevor Berbick inside of 6 rounds. We'll see right now with his unique look at the upcoming fight. This, the first of the Unification Series. Here's Larry Merchant.
There's a popular movie out now called Pretty in Pink. Stars a teenager named Ringwald, Molly. A question tonight as we begin our star search for a one and true heavyweight champion is whether a prize fighter who is pretty in pink, Pinklon Thomas, can win popularity. Muscle for muscle, if not pound for pound, Pinklon Thomas probably is the best fighter in the world. To put it in terms that would be familiar here in Las Vegas, he'd be the favorite against any other fighter in the world. How does he convince you of that? Well, in the short run, he has to keep winning impressively, and even dramatically. The way he knocked out Mike Weaver in his last fight with a perfect textbook combination. We're here tonight to find out whether he can do that to Trevor Berbick. A heavyweight championship fight between a Trevor and a Pinklon. Here's Trevor.
The USBA heavyweight champion, Trevor Berbick.
Okay, both hands.
I think I'm part of it. You know, it's a thing to say you are what you eat. And eating all these fruits and tangerines and natural stuff, I think it makes a big part of me, you know. It gives me so much energy that I have so much, sometimes I got to come outside and walk around at night before I go to bed because I'm full of energy, you know, the water, everything. So I become part of the natural things around me, and I think it's making me younger, feeling me stronger, faster, and I think it's just a blessing that God flows in the natural things of life.
While the image of many pro fighters may be glitz and glamour, what's natural for Trevor Berbick is pure and simple. In between bouts, this gentle giant harvests the good earth and raises a family. His entourage is his wife and 3 children. And the WBC's #1 contender is most content when he's close to nature. Trevor Berbick is fighting for the good life.
Boxing to me is a sports, it's the show business, and I'm in it to enjoy the show and to do good in the business part of it, to make good investment, and I want to make this place a resort for my family, privacy, hang out, do my gardening, swim, whatever you want to do, I can do it in my own place and with a lot of freedom. And this is what this life is all about to me, knowing you know a God that you serve, you trust, you worship, you have your friends, and you live good with your fellow men, and you fight hard for it. I really appreciate life this way.
Berbick began boxing when he was a Marine at Guantanamo Bay, and his first title shot came a year after he stunned the boxing world with a KO over John Tate. WBC champion Larry Holmes was expected to win and, in fact, break Tommy Burns' record of 8 straight knockouts. But the awkward style of his opponent interfered, and although Holmes won the decision, Berbick became the first challenger to go 15 rounds with the WBC champion. 6 months later, Trevor earned another distinction when he fought Muhammad Ali. His 10-round decision over the former champion would be the greatest's last defeat. Berbick's win sent Ali into retirement for good. Greg Page, the alleged next Muhammad Ali, was considered the best new talent when he faced Trevor in 1982. But Trevor put a chink in his armor when he handed Page his first professional defeat. The next 11 months brought back-to-back defeats for Berbick. In October of 1982, Ronaldo Snipes snatched the 10-round decision from Trevor. And in May of 1983, victory belonged to S.T. Gordon. It seemed that Trevor would vanish from the ranks of heavyweight contention. But now, 10 solid fights later, Berbick has replenished his luster, and he's very serious about tonight's fight. The challenger had a choice between fighting then WBA champ Tony Tubbs or the WBC's Pinklon Thomas.
When I said I want the best, I want the best out there that is a recognizable champion. And I picked Pinklon Thomas, and I'm glad that I picked him because he's a good fighter, and good fighter bring out the better part of me, and it's going to be a very, very exciting fight. And I intend to be the champion after the fight is through.
Whether Trevor Berbick wins tonight or not, it's clear that he's already brought out his best. Not unlike the garden he so loves.
I watch these trees and these plants grow. I just love to do that. You know, you pick the fruit, and just the moment you think, wow, it's time for them to quit now, then you see things coming up again. They're starting all over again. And you know, it's amazing the way this land is so fertile. And it's all natural, no chemicals. It's all natural, fertile land. And, you know, to me, this is life. This is living. All right.
I'll look at the challenger, an expectant challenger. And Larry, it looks like you and Ray and I are going to be looking at heavyweights for a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is the way it's all set up, and just let me explain it briefly. There are basically two brackets because we have three champions. Two of the champions are in the upper bracket, and Spinks and Holmes in the lower bracket. Spinks and Holmes will meet in a month from now, and then the winner of that eventually will have a defense, and then meet the winner of the WBA/WBC bracket down the road.
And so that's the way this unification series stacks up. And of course, the names can change. Still very much of an open competition, and it's really hard to pick a favorite, I'll tell you. Pinklon Thomas is a guy who really has impressed an awful lot of people. He's impressed boxing people, but his big concern, Ray, is that outside of the sport of boxing, nobody really knows who he is.
Well, the fact that he's multi-talented, a singer, he claims to be an entertainer.
There's an entertainer, Bruce Willis of Moonlighting.
Had a chance to have the pleasure of meeting Bruce. Nice guy.
Wonder if he's got a black eye under those glasses. He's a knockout, I'll tell you.
One of the funnier shows on television, as a matter of fact, Moonlighting. We're waiting.
And those brackets are open for qualified challengers. Anybody could jump in. We might see Mike Tyson, the great young prospect, get into the brackets. Anybody who qualifies and gets into a top 10 and is available to challenge.
Trevor Berbick now starts to make his way toward the ring. Really not sure how the crowd will respond to Trevor Berbick. It's one of those fights, really, that there isn't a clear-cut underdog, at least in terms of the crowd itself. It seems to be a very bipartisan crowd.
Well, I think everyone remembers Trevor Berbick from when he defeated Muhammad Ali.
He, of course, was the first man to go the distance with Muhammad Ali as a title fight, in a title fight, after Muhammad Ali was looking for the record of Tommy Burns for the most consecutive knockouts in championship fights. Trevor Berbick has said that he only trained 1 month for this. Now, we talk about the fact that he's an underdog amongst the crowd. He's a definitive underdog in terms of the betting line here in Las Vegas. A decided underdog, as a matter of fact. Not in his mind. He said, I'm going out, I'm going to bet $25,000 on myself. It's going to enhance my purse.
Now, when he told me that, I couldn't believe it. But the fact that he's very confident, it shows that he wants to win his fight, and plus he wants a bonus on the side. That $25,000 that he claimed he put up the bet should be a way to really inspire him.
Let's take a look at the record of Trevor Berbick, 34-1. He didn't start fighting until he was 23 years old, remember. And, of course, it's really been since the close loss to Larry Holmes that people have started to acknowledge him as a bona fide contender for this title. One thing, Larry Merchant, that really kind of scared me about him when we talked is he said he's going to take the fight right to Pinklon Thomas. And I would think that's just made to order for Thomas.
Well, he's a shorter fighter than Thomas. He throws wide punches. He has to try to get close to Thomas.
And here comes Pinklon Thomas now as he starts to make his way toward the ring. And as you can see, it's been quite a layoff for Pinklon Thomas. 279 days. He had another layoff of 287 days. So we'll see if inactivity has any effect. He's also had some problems, Larry, outside the ring.
Well, he's had some managerial problems, some promotional problems. For this fight, Angelo Dundee, who had been in his corner for his last few fights, isn't here over some disagreement that they had. You wonder if he's biting off a little bit more than he can chew by managing himself, training himself. Somewhere along the way, you may need an Angelo Dundee in the corner when things go wrong in a big fight and things have a way of sometimes going wrong. You need a cool head there, and I don't know if he's got it here tonight.
Well, he's had 3 different managers, all of whom he owes money to. Still, he put it a succinct way when we talked to him. Now, he said, I'm an entertainer. He said, managers are all millionaires. And he said, I've been screwed by the best of them, so I've learned a lot. Pinklon Thomas, needless to say, clad in pink from top to bottom, pink and blue, sartorial splendor, has not lost a fight. And that, of course, is probably the most important thing that you could look at. 21 knockouts, and he really does it behind an outstanding jab. He's got a big right hand. Against Mike Weaver, he demonstrated that. Here's the tail of the tape then in this fight, and they size up pretty closely. Thomas coming in a little bit heavier than he was the last time. Berbick a couple pounds heavier as well. 3 years age difference between these two. Otherwise, very much the same. Berbick, as Larry Merchant mentioned, kind of a wide puncher. He brings his punches from the outside in. Thomas, a straight ahead puncher. In fact, when we talked to Berbick, he kind of likened Thomas's punches to those of a karate master. His punches are straight ahead. Let's take a look at some of the more interesting numbers that we have on this fight.
Right. We can't tell you how many angels can dance on the head of a pin, but thanks to FightStat, our computer toy, we can tell you about the heavyweights and how many punches they throw and how often they land. And coincidentally, Pinklon Thomas and Trevor Berbick happen to have the highest percentage of punches landed among all of these heavyweights in their last 3 fights, for whatever that's worth. An economy of punches. And here are their jabs. Once again, Pinklon Thomas is on top with that big powerhouse jab that he has. He moves behind that jab like infantrymen behind a tank.
Let's take a look at the rules for this fight. 10-point must system. The ring doctor can't stop the fight. The one that's probably the most important one is that the 3 knockdown rule is not in effect. The fighter can be saved only in the last round by the bell. So those are the WBC rules. We're going 12 rounds. And right now, let's go up to the ring announcer, Chuck Hull, for all the pre-fight festivities. Chuck?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call your attention to center ring and our honor guard of the evening representing the United States Navy. And at this time, I would like to call to center ring a terrible accident took one of the leading middleweight contenders in the world from us, and he had fought in our city just a week prior to that time. This young man exemplified good sportsmanship. He was a gentleman in and out of the ring. So we are going to honor his passing this evening with a silent prayer, and I'm going to ask you all please to rise as our timekeeper, Charlie Roth, makes the 10 count in memory of middleweight James Schuler. May God rest his soul. Ladies and gentlemen, the officials assigned for the next bout of the evening by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The judges are Art Lurie, Dr. Paul Smith, and Spider Bynum. The timekeeper is Charlie Roth. Counting at the knockdowns, Mike Licello. The attending physicians at ringside, Doctors Donald Romeo, Flipomansky, and Kazem Fathi. Your referee is Richard Steele. This is the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Introducing in the blue corner, fighting out of Miami, Florida, weighing 218.5 pounds, with a professional record of 30 wins, 4 defeats, 1 draw, and 23 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the challenger, Trevor, the Young Buffalo, Berbick. And in the red corner, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing 222 3/4 pounds. His professional record consists of 26 wins, no defeats, 1 draw, with 21 KOs. He is the undefeated WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Pinklon Pinky Thomas.
Let's go. Trevor Berbick is one of the few heavyweights ever to come out of the Caribbean.
Your instruction in your dressing room. I want to caution you right now, obey my commands at all times. When I say break, stop punching, protecting yourself at all times, and step back. Is there any question? Shake hands. Good luck to both of you.
Berbick isn't as otherworldly as another Caribbean, Livingston Bramble, but he could be his Secretary of State, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he thinks of himself. In fact, we talked about entertainment value, and he really thinks of himself as an entertainer. He wants to provide a good show for the folks here. Now, whether he just kind of throws caution away and says, I want to make this a good show and not win the fight, I think is really a factor. Round 1. Berbick said he was going to come right after him. Thomas says he'll knock him out in 6 rounds. So let's see who's right, if either.
Look at the left hand of Pinklon Thomas. First round is right by his side. So it appeared to me he's not too impressed with the punching power of Trevor Berbick.
And you see Berbick coming from the outside in with his punches.
Berbick's style, he goes inside and he has a tendency to punch with the inside of his gloves, which takes away the effectiveness of his punches.
I should point out also that historically Pinklon Thomas starts rather slowly. Mike Weaver actually had him a little bit befuddled for about the first 4 or 5 rounds until Thomas got in gear and finally knocked him out with a devastating right hand.
Pinklon Thomas, he has a very debilitating left jab. Very effective, very strong left jab. Larry Holmes is a very consistent left jab. But the power behind the jab of Pinklon Thomas is awesome.
There was some question as to whether or not Pinklon Thomas would throw that right hand often enough in this fight, and you saw him already come up over the top with one.
Pinklon Thomas, quite lackadaisical at the present time. Just taking his time and like a nonchalant attitude. He's blocking those shots thrown by Berbick. Catching a lot of Berbick's punches are being caught in the gloves of Pinklon Thomas.
Still the first round. 2 well-conditioned athletes. In fact, Berbick looks as fit as I've seen him look.
Well, with Berbick, his body's deceiving because he's naturally a well-built man. And it's difficult to tell whether or not he's in shape. But I'm sure, knowing his opposition, he trained very hard for this fight.
One thing that is interesting is both these fighters are athletes of another caliber. Thomas was a track man and a football player. And Berbick was also a track man, javelin thrower.
Berbick brought in Kid Gavilan, who's also known for his bolo punch. With the right hand to the body to the head. And he's very impressed with having Kid Gavilan in his corner. Hopefully we get a chance to see Berbick throw that bolo punch.
Be interesting to see what effect the dropping of the left hand of Thomas has, because it's down at below his glove line, or rather his belt line.
It's as though he's trying to lure Berbick in, because I tell you, Pinklon Thomas has a very good right hand. And he proved that by stopping Mike Weaver.
Well, I tell you, those are some tough jabs that Thomas is throwing on Berbick. We're coming your way in stereo. You might be able to hear those punches. They are really solid punches.
That was a sizing up round, primarily for Thomas until the very end. Berbick was the busier fighter, I thought, through most of the round, and I gave him that round.
So you grab, you move it. Don't give him a damn chance to retaliate. Stick it and move it. Get out of his damn distance.
You waited too long.
There you see the number of jabs thrown in the first round, according to PunchStat.
Make him go each day, honey. Make him find you, baby. Simple like a jab.
And Berbick's the numbers.
On that eye.
Eddie Futch in Berbick's corner. Berbick has always had a disorganized corner. He tried to organize it for this fight.
Okay.
Eddie Futch, incidentally, we spoke with him, said that he noticed something that Pinklon Thomas does, that when he throws the right, he feels that Berbick can counter by coming over the top with a left hook. Now we'll see if Futch's strategy works here. 3-punch combination by Berbick.
You see what I mean, Barry, by saying that Berbick punches with the inside of his gloves instead of pronating that glove, turning it over. He'd be more effective. And as strong as he is, he'll be able to put a lot of guys away with those punches, with that power. Pinklon Thomas, on the other hand, he stands straight up, and very good body movement that he has, upper body movement. Good chin, good solid chin. He's been hit by some of the best in the business.
Both fighters landing with some consistency. Neither seems to be particularly bothered by the other.
Now Berbick's talking to Pinklon Thomas. In fact, he had mentioned to me that he thinks that Pinklon Thomas, well, he knows rather, that Pinklon Thomas has a habit of thumbing his fighters because he punches like a karate expert.
That time, though, he was taunting him. He said, come on, try it again. Left jab, very consistent and very quick. It's interesting that he starts that jab at the top of his trunks and it's still that quick, Ray.
Well, you notice the consistency. Good right hand.
Big right hand.
Consistency of the left jab of Pinklon Thomas. And the right hand started to get through. Now, Berbick needs to bring his left hand up to block some of those shots. He's taking those punches unnecessarily. Now he's starting to bring his hands up, and it's a major difference. Now you notice, Barry, the punches not landing as cleanly as they were earlier.
That jab just right on the button thrown by Pinklon Thomas.
Pinklon Thomas' jab just stops you in your tracks. There's so much power behind his jab. Puts his entire body behind it. Good snap.
And a right hand at the top of the head.
Good right hand.
Thomas very effective so far.
Punch it out.
That voice you're hearing in the ring, that of referee Richard Steele.
The left hook of Berbick was able to get through. Didn't do too much damage. A couple left hooks of Thomas is starting to get through.
That was a good round for the champion. If you are what you eat, as Trevor Berbick claims, he must be a saddlebag because he ate a lot of leather in that round.
You're still waiting on him. You can't let him lead off like that, too. Bring it up here. You gotta get down.
There's the right hand, direct over right hand, and then a shorter right hand by Thomas. He didn't have leverage on the second one. There you see the punches from another angle. He was a little flat-footed. But already you can see the damage he's done on Berbick's left eye. That's from the right hand.
And in fact, they were using that even after the first round, so they're very concerned with the swelling on the face of Trevor Berbick. He's not really apparently marked.
Pinklon Thomas seems to be a very composed man. And even, knowing him and talking with him, the fact that he does so many things outside of boxing, sings and manages other fighters, manages himself, negotiates his own deals. There's a lot of things on his mind at the present time, but apparently he's sticking to his priorities, trying to defeat Trevor Berbick.
Yeah, he has an interesting attitude. He says, if I can be a good boxer, I can be a good actor, I can be a good singer. One just carries over into the other.
I like it because he also has a good sense of humor. A good sense of humor about life, especially from his background.
Didn't start fighting till he was 20. As we mentioned earlier, Berbick didn't start till he was 23.
These guys are natural athletes. They can pretty much do whatever they want to do, from football to basketball, but they decide upon boxing.
Another good right hand by Pinklon Thomas. And it was set up by 3 jabs.
The reason that that jab is working beautiful, the reason that Pinklon is able to catch Berbick with the right hand is because his left jab, the left jab of Pinklon Thomas, just stops you in your tracks. And by stopping you, he's able to land with the right hand.
He's just not missing too many punches either. Almost every punch he throws is scoring. Even in close, as you can see right now.
I like Pinklon Thomas on the outside, using that long, stiff, powerful left jab. Inside, this is Berbick's fight. He likes to rough it up inside. I prefer to see Pinklon Thomas on the outside, throwing the left jab, doubling with the left jab, setting his man up. Beat him to the punch. I hear he's deciding to challenge the power, the physical strength of Trevor Berbick.
As you can see, even inside, Thomas scores with just about every punch he throws.
I noticed that Pinklon, as he stops punching, races up, and he's susceptible to a left hook. So all Berbick needs to do is go to the body with his right hand and come back up with the left hook. There, you notice that the right hand drops from Pinklon Thomas.
Keep him in front, keep him in front.
You notice, but there it is again.
Don't push him, don't push him.
Little bit of swelling actually under the left eye of Pinklon Thomas. Not in an area that it could really do him much damage, but just a little bit of swelling, actually up on the cheek. And of course he did have a detached retina on his right eye, and a good left hook, as you mentioned, Ray, by Berbick.
I think Berbick moved in on Thomas about a third of the way into that round because he was tired of eating that heavy jab.
Right.
Okay, man.
So you hold the water. Wash yourself. Give me swallow.
Give me the ice.
Give me a swallow. Huh? Good. Hold the line.
Good, you understand me. This motherfucker, I'm telling you, he's up for everything. He said he keeps coming at you. Now, send an overhand right. He's a sucker for that.
Move around the
Move around the jab and, yeah, okay.
Going through it before.
When he come into the body, okay.
Listen with right hand.
Sure, yeah. Well, let's put them together.
Right hand lead and then come back with your double and triple hook, okay?
Okay.
Make him find you, baby. Don't.
You can see why Berbick is such a troubling fighter for so many fighters. He's athletic, he's big, he's strong, he's awkward. He stays outside, then he jumps inside. He's not an easy fighter to look good against.
That left eye of Berbick is starting to swell. They've been trying to administer and keep that metal piece on there, just keep the swelling from blowing up.
But a little bit of swelling on the left eye of Thomas as well. Berbick again with the heavier damage.
You notice in the background, it's the one that's not distracting the fighter is the fire alarm, but there is no fighter. Someone must have just activated it. And apparently it's not bothering the guys at all. They're still concentrating and keeping their jabs out. And the body punches thrown by Trevor Berbick just then.
Berbick continuing to trouble Pinklon Thomas.
Berbick has a good jab. I mean, what he has to do is use his jab to offset the jab of Pinklon Thomas.
Work it out, work it out. Don't hold him, keep him in front. Keep him in front, keep him in front.
It's almost as though both fighters are frustrated with the other. What they're asking Berbick to do from his corner is to throw his right hand and double up that hook. But he has to get closer. He has to get inside.
they do get it long range. Thomas is the more effective. When they're inside, Berbick is the more effective.
I mean, the jab of Pinklon Thomas actually knocks Berbick back. And Berbick is not just a small man by any means.
It was a good right hand that came down on Pinklon Thomas, thrown by Trevor Berbick.
Berbick is such a big and strong individual. He can wear you down. He's been so successful because very few guys can actually penetrate his defense and actually hurt him.
They've both been a little bit swollen under the eyes. Actually, Berbick alongside the eye, and Thomas up on both cheeks. Not anything, again, that either man should be alarmed about.
Now, again, you see the hands. Pinklon Thomas is down to the side. This is when Berbick needs to come upstairs. There's a double left hook by Berbick. That's what his corner wanted, the double left hook.
So it is a tactical fight so far.
Letterman, the well-known referee, is with us, and after we go into the corner for a few seconds, we'll ask for his unofficial score.
Take a move around the boxing, man. You're trying to move around the box.
Well, Larry, at this point, I think it's a very even fight. Pinklon Thomas, when he stays outside, just like Ray and Barry have been saying, and uses his jab, he does well. But Trevor's been staying inside and banging the body. And Trevor had two very, very good rounds, which he won with effective aggressiveness and good body shots in the first and the fourth. The second and the third, I thought Pinklon Thomas outpunched him. The second round was a good round for Pinklon Thomas. The third round, he barely won, but he still fought Trevor Berbick's fight and let Berbick get inside.
Pretty soon, the champion may wish that Angelo Dundee was around to reduce all of this to a simple equation for him to solve.
Berbick starting out very aggressively, trying to bull Pinklon Thomas, the champion. Remember, Harold Letterman with us. He is a judge here in the state of Nevada. However, he is unofficially judging the fight, just for HBO and just to kind of give you a barometer of how things are going.
Well, the start of round 5, you were able, beautiful triple left hooks by Trevor Berbick. At the beginning of the fifth round, you were able to see the entertaining side of Trevor Berbick. Walked out, stalking his man in a very animated type of way.
But he is all business as well. And he does, at least it seems to me, Ray, that he's got Pinklon Thomas a little bit puzzled at this point.
Well, he's not an easy guy to figure out. Berbick has I think he has natural defense because of his broad shoulder. That hook there appeared to have bothered Pinky for a second or two.
And another good one, but followed up with a great body shot by Thomas. Both men effective there.
Thomas standing straight up, so those left hooks by Berbick will prove to be effective because he makes himself susceptible to take a left hook because his hands are at his side. There, Berbick complaining about low blow. And you'll notice, Barry, that those roundhouse punches thrown by Berbick will start to land.
Both men absorbing a lot of power from the other. It's really an up-tempo fight so far. And each man again with a left hand.
When you fight this type of style, when you fight this pace, it's a matter of condition.
And that was Thomas with about 4 punches, all to the face.
And all unanswered. So now Berbick needs to get on the ball and put some of his punches together.
Good overhand right, but Berbick didn't take a backward step. And now Berbick with a right hand. Thomas right back. Berbick lunges at him. A lot of action.
A lot of action, Barry, and a lot of punches and a lot of wearing down. Because now it's just going to be an accumulation.
Oh, a good left hand by Trevor Berbick.
And the reason Thomas was hit by the left hook is because his hands are down. He's a little wobbly legs now. Pinky is. Threw a lot of punches in this round.
A lot of really powerful punches from both men.
A lot of vicious shots were thrown by both fighters.
And again, Thomas right back, a three-punch combination. Berbick comes back with a right hand. What a round.
They can't keep this up.
Well, you can hear from the crowd what that round was about. It's very rare to see big men punch each other the way we just saw in that round. Very, very rare.
Keep it this in the box round. Set him up, man, okay?
Look at the right hand of Pinklon.
Here we can see there's the left hand. A good punch that Berbick landed in that fight, in that round. But Thomas was right back on top of him. That left by Berbick was blocked. I thought that Thomas landed more clean, heavy blows in that round, but it was a tough round, and it remains to be seen what toll it takes on each fighter.
So we start the 6th round.
Well,
Remember, we're scheduled for 12.
Berbick has to stay in there and try to get this fight over with, because that left eye of his being hit by the left jab thrown by Pinklon Thomas is not going to get any better. That 5th round was a heated 5th round, a vicious and fiercely fought 5th round.
And now remember the 6th round, which we are in now, the round that Pinklon Thomas said he would knock out Trevor Berbick. And Berbick scores the first big punch of the 6th round.
You notice the tempo of the fight has slowed down tremendously, and there, Berbick complained about the thumbing of Pinklon Thomas.
That's been a complaint that most Thomas opponents have had. Swelling now directly under the left eye of Berbick, and could become a factor now. Swelling on both cheeks of Pinklon Thomas, and alongside the right eye a little bit.
The jab, it's so effective. Pinklon Thomas jab, right hand, and he had leverage behind it.
But I'll tell you, that eye of Berbick looking worse almost by the minute. No cut, but a lot of swelling. And the jab continues to pepper the eye.
Still complaining. Berbick still yelling at Thomas to watch his thumb. He has to watch that left jab.
A little slower tempo here, as Ray mentioned, in the 6th round.
You notice that Pinklon Thomas, a little arm weary here, just pretty much sticking that jab out.
Both men seem to be kind of taking a deep breath here and kind of testing themselves to see what's left.
That 5th round, both fighters fought like they were lightweights. A lot of punches. This round here, Barry, is just pretty much trying to catch the second win.
Good left hand by Berbick, backed Thomas up. I was about to say that Thomas seems the sharper of the two in this round.
Well, you notice Pinklon Thomas's mouth is open. Sure signs of fatigue, but it was expected, because that 5th round again was a great round. Blowing it.
So the 6th round has come and gone, and the lights in the hotel are burning brightly. Although I think they may be a little dimmer for Trevor Berbick at this moment.
I'm not doing long here. You're waiting too long. You're waiting too long. You got to get inside. You got to get in close.
Get that back in the neck. Let me rough on your side.
Okay?
We're working on that.
You got to get in low.
Let's see if we can see a thumb that Trevor has been complaining about. And there you saw the left thumb. It's just the way that Thomas throws the punch. Throws it up, and instead of turning it over as a normal jab, he turns it outside like a screwball in baseball, and the thumb did seem to graze the eye of Berbick. Didn't seriously poke him in the eye. Not deliberate, but effective. And you wonder if Trevor Berbick stood outside in that last round because he took too much punishment on the inside, but he can't win that way, as Eddie Futch said.
So we start the 7th round. And Trevor Berbick is the man who has to answer the questions right now.
A little discoloration in the left eye of Trevor Berbick. Good right hand.
Thomas looks like he's waiting, just trying to pick his spots.
Well, Thomas is actually trying to look for, he's looking for an opening. And his left jab has been making that opening available to him. Now we have a jabbing contest. Both fighters are just using their jab, trying to set each other up.
You can just hear the sound of the jab of Pinklon Thomas.
It sounds like cannon. It sounds like it's thunder.
We'll just keep quiet. Let you listen to the jab. It just makes a cracking kind of sound with almost every one.
Punching it out.
Good example right there.
Look at the right hand of Pinklon Thomas, nearly at his side. I don't know why Berbick's not taking advantage of it. Or the left hand. Well, he tried then.
Work inside and get out.
But it was blocked by Pinklon Thomas. Now here we have the type of fighting that Trevor Berbick likes. Inside fighting. Bobbing and weaving, working the body.
Don't hold him, don't hold him. Great, step back, don't hold him. Watch your head.
40 seconds remaining, 7th round. Last 2 rounds, the pace has been considerably slower than the 5th round, which was frenetic for both men.
Berbick's left hook has been catching Thomas on the side of his head instead of on his jaw. Good right hand.
Very good right hand.
Good right hand by Berbick. Now he should pour it on. Less than 9 seconds left. Good right hand once again by Berbick.
The tempo of the fight is still being dictated by the left hand of Thomas, although he let his guard down in the last 30 seconds of that.
Back tonight. Stay up. How are we going to do it now, champ? Hold us, hold it, hold us. Just hold us.
There you see our punch stats. Thomas thrown almost 400 punches in 7 rounds and landed over 200, a little better than 50%.
You know, keep the distance. Give me face. Take it and move it. Soon you jam, move it. Don't lose the head.
And Trevor Berbick with comparable statistics.
Because I can do it. Come on, all you got to do is you want it more. Yeah, keep the pressure on. Keep the pressure on.
Here we go.
Make it more.
This may come down to conditioning, Ray.
I would agree. I think the fact that both fighters have been fighting inside from the first round on, and there Berbick just lawns at Pinklon Thomas.
It's the 8th round. We're going 12, remember.
Well, basically, both fighters are pretty much using strength far more than their own talent. Thomas, on the other hand, has been using his left jab. Not as much as he should or can, but I think in the early part of the round, he relied basically on strength. and just trying to set Berbick up. But Berbick, again, it's not an easy fighter to fight his defense to penetrate. The type of fight I like to see Pinklon Thomas in is when he's outside using that jab. Just beat this man to the punch, tripling and doubling his jab up.
Berbick staying busy.
Well, Berbick's best fight is inside, and you see how effective he is.
Berbick is now getting the better of it on the inside, which he wasn't earlier.
Well, when a guy decides to fight Berbick's style, it's almost fatal because Berbick is such a strong individual. And the way he executes his punches, he also gets the best out of the ball.
And remember, we have Harold Letterman here, who is a judge, judging unofficially for HBO. And this is a very tough fight to judge, I would think, Ray.
Well, like Harold stated, you have to concentrate, really look at the fight. And by these fighters, fight inside, fighters close, throwing certain kind of punches, and you got to watch for the clean shots. It is a difficult fight to call because this is somewhat uncharacteristic of Pinklon Thomas fighting Berbick's fight. There's a cut over the left eye of Pinklon Thomas. I wonder if...
and we'll see. That could have an effect on it, really, because blood could get in that eye. Hard to tell exactly where it is. It seems to be in the corner, but up above the eye, and that's, of course, where you don't want one.
The right hand of Berbick just landed there.
And Berbick's very slowly starting to change the momentum of this fight.
And now you notice that Berbick is starting to lead off with his right hand.
Berbick keeping him in close. Good left hand by Berbick. Big round for Trevor Berbick so far.
You notice that Pinklon Thomas is fighting, throwing body shots, but his hands are down. So the type of punch that Berbick is throwing is starting to land, especially those head shots.
Thomas not quite as sharp as he was early on.
It's a brutal fight here.
Long left hand just grazed the chin of Thomas at the bell. And the crowd, Larry, starting to swing toward the challenger right now.
Well, that capacity for surprise that we spoke about earlier is here, and an underdog will always get the crowd on his side. But right now, the real issue is Thomas's left eye, and it is a real cut. It doesn't look now like it can be a fight-stopping cut. The flow of blood has not been serious enough to keep him from seeing the punches. But it's a cut, and it could have an influence on this fight. Harold, how do you see it so far?
Well, Larry, I think it's a very even fight to this point. And as Barry and Ray have been saying, when Trevor Berbick moves inside, he does land the scoring shots to the body. When Pinklon Thomas stays at a distance, he does very, very well with his left jab. And I think that Trevor Berbick had that great 8th round to even it up. It's a very close fight to this point, Larry.
Question I have in my mind is whether Pinklon Thomas is in the best shape he should be for a grueling fight like this.
Well, as you mentioned, there was a lot going on in Pinklon Thomas's life outside the boxing ring between the last time we saw him 279 days ago and now. So we'll see. We'll have the answer in about 9 minutes.
Well, it has not been a bed of roses for Pinklon Thomas, and it is a factor. I mean, it has to play a role with the fighter's mind because in the ring, it takes a great deal of concentration. And you cannot concentrate with so many problems.
Of course, we asked him specifically about it. He said, no, it doesn't bother me at all. This is my show now. This is the way I want it.
Well, I would say the same thing, but if you ask me, I would say no. I mean, what you expect me to say? I won't tell you that I'm devastated by the departure of an Angelo Dundee or what have you.
And there is the cut opened up again over the left eye.
I noticed that Pinklon Thomas, he blinked a couple of times when the left jab of Trevor Berbick landed on that eye.
And Berbick continues to pepper him with the jab, but Thomas is keeping Berbick off him so far in this 9th round.
Well, to be honest with you, this is when you need a person like an Angelo Dundee to give you that motivation to really administer cuts, to give you that boost, to give you that resurgence of energy.
And a tremendous three-punch combination by Berbick. All three of those punches right to the head of Thomas. Counter-punching right hand by Berbick.
See, this is when it's really frustrating and dangerous for a champion, because frustration becomes a key, becomes a factor. When you're cut, and then all of a sudden the crowd becomes fickle, roots for the underdog. It plays a role.
Crowd yelling, Berbick, Berbick.
Once again, Berbick is yelling at Pinklon Thomas to watch his style. I think it's been a very good round for Trevor Berbick. Stay close to his man. Look at his jab. He started working his own jab.
I can't help but wonder if he doesn't feel that Thomas is slowing down a little bit. Thomas not as sharp with his punches as he was earlier, and you could see Berbick catching him on the gloves. He wasn't catching that jab on the gloves early in the fight.
He's really, Berbick there is really frustrated and irritable about the thumbing.
Berbick has been the distance, so that is not a problem for him. Let's take a look at that devastating combination. A left, a short right, and a right back with a left. And from another angle. Berbick is really a strong fellow, and those are arm punches, but they hurt.
Right hand, you know, jab and left hook, you know. You gotta keep busy now. You gotta keep busy, Pink. You gotta throw more punches. That's how you win, okay?
Once more.
Thomas was looking down at the canvas then as though he was seeing something that he hadn't anticipated seeing in this fight. Not only the 10th round, but the possibility of losing his championship.
That was exactly the look he had in his face. Ray Leonard and I talking about that while you were speaking, Larry, and he looks, Ray, to me like a tired fighter right now. In fact, he looks like a beaten fighter. I'm not saying he is, but that's the look I got.
Also, if you notice in Pinklon Thomas' corner, they have not administered to his eye. I mean, there's not been any work done. That's when the Angelo Dundees come in. That's when the Angelo Dundee becomes a role, plays a major role.
Well, Thomas has his hands full tonight. There's no win or lose. He has his hands full.
I think that was a good round for Trevor Berbick.
And again, Ray, the thing that strikes me is that jab, which was going right through the gloves of Berbick before, is being caught by Berbick now.
Well, Berbick, you notice also, Barry, that the left hand of Berbick, he raised it. So he's able to block some of those shots. There's no sense taking those punches if you don't have to. Because Berbick has a jab, and there you notice he threw his jab and it landed. So he has to start throwing more punches too.
Well, I've counted the last 4 jabs that Thomas has thrown have been caught by the gloves of Berbick.
Again, you notice Pinklon Thomas, he's really a tired fighter at this point.
One but caught by the gloves, another one caught by the gloves. He was short with one a moment ago. That one was caught by the gloves. Right hand.
Now that's what's
great body shot right there.
Those are the kind of punches thrown by Berbick's going to work. Combination, not 1, but 3, 4, 5 punches. Don't rely upon one punch. That was good upper body movement by Trevor Berbick. He's very elusive there. Bobbing and go even.
And again, the jabs being caught by the gloves of Trevor Berbick.
Come on, work it out, work it out.
Now watch Berbick go to work here. He's inside. Now this is his fight again. Little short shots. They don't seem like much, but again, he's a very strong individual.
Thomas a little arm weary, and Berbick comes right back.
Berbick starts to go to work again, throwing 2-3 left hooks. There's left hook again, Barry.
And another.
Here we go again, another left hook. And Thomas still has not raised that right hand of his.
It looks almost as if Pinklon Thomas has run into a wall, the kind of wall that long-distance runners are used to, when suddenly they just can't go anymore.
I don't want to get too close. It's on inside, man. Outside. Stay outside the jab, okay? And throw left hook, you know? Left hook, okay?
This fight is becoming a lesson in the fact that a fighter should fight, and he should surround himself with the right people to take his mind off everything else but the fighting.
Okay, now? All right. Come on now. Do what Anderson. Jump on that.
There you see our punch stats. Berbick still landing about 50% of his punches.
Berbick still complaining to Richard Steele about the thumbing.
You know, along the
Pinklon
lines.
Thomas thinking fighters' thoughts between rounds.
And along the lines of what you were saying, Larry, when we talked to Trevor Berbick, he said, this is the first time I've ever had a good corner. And Ray, I know that was something you talked to him about, what, 3 or 4 fights ago. Meanwhile, Berbick just taking the fight right to the champion.
You have to have a professional corner. You have to have a corner that's going to revive you, a corner that's going to motivate you. You got to have a good professional corner, organized corner. And what I see in Berbick, in this corner, very professional. You don't need all that pandemonium. There's enough problems facing you.
Another left hand after taking 2 punches. Berbick came back with a left hand of his own.
Even the right eye of Berbick appears to be swelling a little.
Remember, this only scheduled for 12, and this is round 11. WBC, of course, 12-round championship fights.
Punch and get out, punch and get out.
Thomas, meanwhile, just trying to remember.
Look, now Thomas has both feet together. It's very easy to be knocked down this way. You have no balance. There again, he starts to bring both feet together.
Left hand, Berbick.
You notice that there's not a snap to Thomas' punches.
No, all arm punches.
And look at the hook.
And Thomas is in
ready to
trouble.
go.
He is in serious trouble. Berbick right on top of him.
His feet are coming together. And there's a lot of time left here. Less than 2 minutes.
Berbick just banging away at the champion. Thomas is in serious trouble. Berbick, combinations of punches.
Look at these guys. These guys are going to war.
Thomas fighting on instinct. Berbick trying to put him away.
Did you believe it?
Thomas back on his, trying to get on his toes again. He was hurt.
Thomas' legs are gone completely, though.
Once again, he started to drop that right hand. The left hook was the punch that put him on Quinn Street. Both punches at the present time, arm weary and completely exhausted.
Still got 25 seconds to go in this 11th round, and Thomas is still on rubber legs.
I'm waiting to see another left hook by Berbick. That's one of the best rounds I've seen, Barry, by heavyweights.
Hit a couple of them in this fight.
Thomas perilously close to having the lights go out on his championship.
Well, Larry, as I see it, Trevor Berbick is ahead 106 to 103. He's the aggressor. He's landing the stronger, harder punches, staying inside, doing what he has to do.
In my judgment, Thomas at least has to score a knockdown for a 2-point round to retain his title.
Good. Take a deep breath. Deep. Come on. Once more.
I thought Thomas fought back courageously in that round after he got hurt early in the round. But now I think I know from that look in his face that he knows what he has to do in this round. Let's see if he can do it.
3 minutes left in this WBC championship. The first step toward the unification of the heavyweight title. Pinklon Thomas, the champion, for how long? That remains to be seen.
Thomas throwing this jab, but again, Barry's dropping that right hand, and again, the left hook was what put Thomas in a lot of trouble.
Pinklon Thomas's legs still don't look very strong to me, Ray.
Well, what Berbick needs to do, he needs to continue to take the fight to Thomas. And continue to work his body a little bit more to bring his hands down a little further.
Berbick backhanding him. Thomas complains. Richard Steele says don't backhand. A little playlet. Thomas, 2 good jabs. Probably the 2 best jabs he's thrown in the last 4 or 5 rounds. Right hand by Berbick. Backs Thomas off.
Berbick now is just starting to just parry with Thomas's punches. Now he goes on the attack again. You notice he's blocking those jabs of Thomas.
Good right hand again by Berbick. Combination by Berbick again.
The right hand of Berbick has been getting through for the past 4 or 5 rounds. I think for Berbick, what he needs to do is he needs to put some punches together this time instead of relying upon that one punch. You notice how he's able to sway away from a combination and then come back.
Well, this is only the first step of this unification series, and we are on the verge of a big surprise here. And again, Thomas's legs defy him.
Berbick is, I mean, the way and the fashion that he's punching Thomas, it's really something special here.
They also have done a masterful job in Berbick's corner, perhaps unlike Thomas's corner, where that eye, which was swollen literally after the first round, has not gotten any worse since about round number 4. 25 seconds left in this one.
You can see who the champion is at the end of the round. You can see which one is more jubilant than the other.
And now we're going to get a good idea as to just how it all works as far as the judging in Las Vegas goes. We showed you a little bit of the inner workings, but we mentioned also we saw a rather strange decision in a cruiserweight championship fight a little bit earlier here. It's over, and it's in the hands of the judges.
You look at the facial expression of both fighters, and you see that Berbick, I think he's more satisfied with his performance than Pinklon Thomas.
And so you look at Trevor Berbick, who fought his heart off, fought a great fight, no question about it, Ray.
He fought a very good fight. In fact, Pinklon Thomas fought his fight.
Harold, how did you see it? You had Berbick ahead by 3 points going the final round, so obviously you think he won it.
Well, yeah, I had Trevor Berbick winning the fight by 2 points. In the 15th round, Pinklon Thomas did use his left hand effectively, and Trevor stayed away, and Pinklon carried the 12th round with his left jab. But the fact of the matter is, as we review the fight, Trevor Berbick really came to fight. He moved inside. He was effective. He banged the body effectively. Every time he moved inside, he scored vicious body shots. I mean, I was surprised that he got inside of Pinklon Thomas's left jab, but he really looked like a winner in there. He just pressed. The effective aggressiveness of Trevor Berbick should win him the fight. Effective aggressiveness in this fight was very, very important, Barry, and Berbick was very effective.
Let's point out, Harold, though, that all of us at this table in a fight a little bit earlier had the winner being the champion, Bernard Benton, and it turned out that Sugar De Leon, in the eyes of the judges, won the fight.
Well, Barry, that's what makes boxing. I think that the WBC has 3 great judges in this fight, and I think that we will see a new champion.
All right, that seems to be the judgment at this table, and I think probably the judgment of most of the crowd here at the Riviera, and we will know in scant moments. Look at the fight stat numbers, which are virtually dead even, Ray.
Well, they both fight through a great deal of punches throughout the fight, especially the 5th and 6th round, through a lot of punches, quite even.
Those are not just easy little punches either. They were all hard, tough punches. Ring announcer, official decision.
Judge Paul Smith scores 115-113. Judge Spider Bynum scores 115-113. Judge Art Lurie scores 115-114 for the winner by unanimous decision and new WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Trevor Berbick.
Well, this time, the way Harold Letterman saw it, the way you saw it, I saw it, and Larry Merchant saw it, was exactly the same way the 3 judges here in Las Vegas saw it, a new champion, Ray.
Well, Barry, it was not much of a surprise because the way and the manner that Trevor Berbick approached this fight, he fought his fight. Pinklon Thomas, he claimed that, all the personal problems he had on the side with the absence of Angelo Dundee did not bother him, but apparently it did. Angelo Dundee, with his absence, proved to be a factor in the fight. Pinklon Thomas just had too many other obstacles to overcome.
Well, they say that a challenger has to take the fight to a champion, and I think that's exactly what Trevor Berbick did tonight.
Well, not that. I think the fact that Pinklon Thomas decided to fight inside. He decided to forget about boxing, using his left jab, which is one of the best left jab in the heavyweight division. Decided to stand toe-to-toe with Trevor Berbick, and Berbick came out on top.
You know, the interesting thing to me, too, there's so many times that a fighter, that there's a pivotal point in a fighter's career. You have to look back to that fight with Larry Holmes and say that was the pivotal point for Trevor Berbick. Ever since then, he's been serious about his sport, and, of course, it culminated tonight with the WBC championship over Pinklon Thomas. Let's get up to Larry Merchant now, who is in the ring. Larry, you got it.
Trevor Berbick, you may have been in a vast minority of people who thought you had a chance to win the title tonight.
Well, Mr. Merchant, I say this to you, that many people don't understand what mysteries I've been through. But I think right after this fight, and pretty soon, I won't say too much, but when I build my church, and the gates of heaven, hell will not prevail against it. You don't understand that, but the people will understand it soon. I'm happy to be here tonight in beautiful Riviera. I love this place. The co-workers support me. Everybody loves me because they see there was something in me. It's mysterious. I'll tell you what it is, the love of God.
You have always had a capacity to surprise people when they were least expecting you to do something. What did you do in your mind to surprise Pinklon Thomas tonight?
Well, okay. I tell you, I didn't do nothing extra in my mind. I always knew what I could do. But because of the mysteries of my life have been, people don't understand me. And now the revelation is coming to pass when they will understand the true Trevor Berbick.
Early in the fight, he looked like he was hurting you with that big thunderous jab. What did you do to try to neutralize that?
Okay, let me tell you, did you see where it hit me right there? I turned my head with this and came back because you take about 99% off when you see the punch. I told you in the dressing room, Pink got a good right hand. Oh, well, this is the main thing because without that network, it wouldn't be possible. You remember when I first started with Tiger, it was HBO, the genius network in America that put me on. And now I'm here to
I admire your perspicacity about HBO, but what we really want to know is the fight and what your feelings are about when it turned for you.
Well, first of all, I wanted to play with him in the first couple rounds, basically.
First round was a killer round. Both of you hammered each other.
Yeah,
what happened after that?
Because, see, Pinklon had a very, very extraordinary, strong mind. But I never used my mind that much because I know what psychology is all about. When you need it, it's there. So I keep my reserve until the time to let it loose.
Sounds like you're saying that your experience and patience paid off in that you were able to weather that and come back late in the fight.
Well, Pinklon is a good fighter. You see, he's got a powerful left jab. But what I did, I neutralized it a bit and used my own. You see what mine did? Mine bust him up, didn't it? Oh, I got some power on my left.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Champion, which is words I never expected to say to you.
One thing to my
we have to
daughter.
run.
Okay. I want to say happy birthday to my little daughter, Tricia, back in Florida on the ranch, and all the people who are taking care of her. And I want to wish everybody across the world greetings in Jesus' name.
Thank you so much. And now
to my manager, Claude, who made it possible through the negotiation and sticking behind me to make it happen.
Now back to Ray and Barry.
Okay, thanks, Larry Merchant, and thank you to Trevor Berbick, the new champion. Good guy won the fight, the good guy lost the fight, too. That was the story of tonight's fight, I think.
Well, I think he's a philosopher also, but he fought a very tactical fight. He fought his fight, and I'm sure that Pinklon Thomas will go back to the drawing board and see his mistakes. He fought the wrong type of fight, and things was not the way he had planned.
You know, the thing, too, that struck me when we talked to Trevor Berbick just the other day, he said he chose Pinklon Thomas. He wanted to fight Pinklon Thomas.
Yeah, he was willing. In fact, he said he arranged to fight Pinklon Thomas. And it's funny, Barry, because he pointed out the fact that Pinklon would sometimes thumb, and that did happen in the fight. I think it was not intentional, but it did happen. But he didn't let that bother him too much. He stuck to his plan, working the body, threw some beautiful left hooks. I think he fought a very great fight.
All right, let's hear from the man himself. And Larry Merchant right now is with Pinklon Thomas. Larry?
Pinklon, I know this must have been a great shock to you. Were you in condition? Because you looked tired over the last half of the fight.
Hey, I ain't got nothing to say about my condition. I trained hard. I worked hard. I did what I could to do to win this fight.
You thought you were going to knock him out pretty convincingly. Were you overconfident against him?
No, it was promotional. It was a thing to bring the people in. I want to see this thing go off one way or the other, whether I'm the winner or not. I want to see one champion. I said that from day one. So whatever I could do to draw the people into this fight, that's what was most important to me.
Were you surprised that he was able to stay on top of you and be as effective as he was to try to avoid your jab?
No, that's Berbick's fight, and to stay on top of you. He's a good fighter. I take nothing from him. You know, I look to fight him inside. Hey, I'm not the judge.
Let me ask you then, because this is something we've been commenting on. Do you think you've taken too much on by managing and training yourself in effect, and not just being able to concentrate on the fighting?
Maybe you feel like that. I feel like I had to do whatever it took to get the job done. That was to get me from 17 to the championship of the world. I came to this man 2 years ago and what I told him was that I wanted to be the one and only champion. And I worked with him on a promotional basis and paid managers who I paid very well. And all I can say, I came out to do my job, whether it was too much what I was doing on the other end. It was something that I had to do. I'm a man, and I'll admit, if I have to accept the loss because the judges and the referee gave it to me, I'll accept it. As a man, as a fighter, I can't accept the loss.
Thank you, Pinklon. Thank you very much. So, once again, the theater of the unexpected strikes again in boxing. And perhaps it is true that it is difficult, if not impossible, for a prize fighter to be pretty in pink. I don't know anyone outside of the corner of the new champion who thought that he would be the new champion. The odds were heavy against him, 6 or 7 to 1. Reminds me of what Damon Runyon said, where human beings are concerned, nobody is more than 3 to 1 against anyone else. Jimmy Jacobs, the manager of the wonderful young heavyweight Michael Tyson, said that the last man he wanted Tyson to fight was the man who lost tonight. That's how highly he thought of Pinklon Thomas. Larry Holmes didn't even have Pinklon Thomas on his list of potential future opponents. That's how big an upset we've had here tonight. The lights are still on for everyone here, except for the ex-champion who thought he could put them out. Barry and Ray?
Okay, thank you, Larry. And we just about have come to the end of this one then. In fact, we've crowned a new champion. And you have an idea with this unification series. That may just be the beginning, Ray.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about it. I would go and pick up my money. The $25,000 advance that Berbick bet on himself, she's going to pick your money up.
Well, Larry Merchant said nobody's more than 3-1. Larry Merchant and Damon Runyon both said that. You know, you talked about the fact that Berbick is a philosopher. And what he said when I talked to him the other day, he just said, we're just two guys who are out there trying to demonstrate our skills. And there was no question about it that Berbick demonstrated him just a little bit better.
Well,
than
Berbick believes in
Pinklon
himself, too.
And he's got to believe even more now. He's the new champion. Be sure to join us for our next broadcast of World Championship Boxing, the rematch between IBF heavyweight champion Michael Spinks and the man he dethroned, Larry Holmes.